Hey everybody, I'm Lee Blickley here in downtown Manhattan at the Build Studio, and we're about to talk to a wonderful person we haven't seen on TV in a few years, Tabitha Coffey. Do you guys remember Tabitha Coffey? We first saw her on Sheer Genius, and then she had a wonderful show, Tabitha Takes Over, and now she's going to be back with Relative Success with Tabitha. So if you guys are watching now, too, make sure to submit a question. You can find the button right over here, and make sure to ask the question that you want to ask Tabitha, because she'll be sitting right here, right after we watch this trailer for Relative Success with Tabitha.
This season on Relative Success.
Absolutely.
More of this, less of this. I don't want all the bullshit that goes with the ring. I just want the ring. I'm back in business. Family business. Remember me, the blonde Australian? I want you to be present to help your mother.
See, it depends on the mom.
Oh, my God. Over half of the 6 million family businesses in America are in trouble. Why do you not know what your business is bringing in?
Because that's his part.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Who wants to buy a house at like 4 o'clock in the morning? You have to market your business. It isn't the 80s anymore. And when it's family,
Stop.
all business is personal.
What have you done for me?
I've done a lot of for you. That's what.
You can have everything, but you will not take my soul. I will not give you my soul.
Who can you trust?
Nobody.
Because you're a bitch.
I definitely have my work cut out for me. Can you just give me a second? You're all and have your head up your asses. None of this is helping the business.
This is a reflection of our family.
And it's a mess. And each family will have to follow my lead for 3 weeks. Let's be real about it. You it up.
Should never invited Tabitha to help.
When you have to work with your relatives,
No.
it can be a bloody
I
mess.
just didn't want to fail you.
No, you shut up.
But in the end, family matters.
I love you.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you.
All that screaming I've done for 2 years, I could have just done this.
This is Relative Success.
Guys, look who we're joined by, Tabitha Coffey. That was quite the trailer.
It was, wasn't it? It's exhausting. Wow.
I mean, I'm sure you don't have to really pull for the drama when you're sitting down with families who are running businesses together.
You know what? You really don't. If you ever want to think about just working with your family every day and then having a family dinner with them, you know what the drama would be like. So there wasn't a lot that I had to do, but definitely me poking around brings a lot of other things up to the bubbling up.
Yeah. So let's talk about the show. Now, we are saying a little bit backstage that it's been almost 5 years since you've been off the air with Tabitha Takes Over, which everybody here, I'm sure, loved. I loved that show. And I loved when you first hit the scene in Sheer Genius. So talk about coming back with this new show and what you wanted to kind of change on your way back to TV.
You know what? I loved what I did. I loved the show. I loved being part of the Bravo family. What I wanted to explore was the relationships and the dynamics. And if you look at businesses, family businesses are a huge portion of the economy in America. And it's a really interesting niche because people go into their business wanting to pass it on to the next generation, and that doesn't always happen. And then it's all the drama of, you would think it would be great working with your family, but it can often be the opposite. So that was something that I really wanted to explore, that I felt really passionate about. I think it resonates with everyone. And it also felt fresh. It felt fresh for me, something a little bit different from what I did before, and hopefully different to everyone that was watching as well, with all the things that you enjoy about the show, but looking at it with a kind of fresh twist.
Yeah. So you're not in hair salons anymore, or do you stumble into a hair salon during Relative Success?
Not yet, not yet, but I'm still in the hair industry, so I've never walked away from that. We haven't gone in with Relative Success into a hair salon. I'm not saying that won't happen because there's a lot that a family runs, so hint, hint, bravo, just saying. But no, I haven't gone into one this season. It's fascinating though, and the family thing is just, once you're in it, I feel like I have 8 new families walking away. It's pretty amazing.
I know, because the first episode starts in a pizzeria, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this family and what's going on there?
Honestly, a rags to riches story. Just one of those stories that Joe, who started this business, you just can't help but fall in love with him. He's just that guy that you fall in love with. And the family had some really hard things going on. Their mother passed away really early. He's a single dad. He worked his butt off to make this business work, to take care of his daughters and son, and really worked hard. And the next generation are appreciative and love their dad, but they want to do it differently, right? And that's what the next generation does. And Joe, after 20-something years of being a single dad, remarried. And you know what that means? The stepmom comes in and then she puts her 2 cents worth, and that created this whole nother dynamic and drama on there. So a lot of it was just miscommunication. And Joe wanting out and the family not wanting out, and just all this drama that unfolded. So it's a really good one. It was great working with this family, and I think you'll fall in love with him as well.
What is it like sitting down and getting to know these families and being a part of a family yourself? You have insight, but you're also a mentor in businesses. So it must be a nice balance to kind of sit down, think about the business, but also think about what's happening within the family structure.
It's really emotional, and that's the thing that I love about this show is it was emotional before. You know, what I do is emotional because you can see the drama that happens and it's dealing with people's businesses and it's very personal. The difference is now that you don't ever walk away from it because it's family. So that drama is there, and me being in the fold, you kind of feel like you're part of the family. You're the neutral part of the family that's trying to navigate the waters. So it was really interesting to see how, and we all do this, we carry these really silly seeds of our childhood or our adolescence or whatever it is, and take it into our adult life and turn around and go, well, you were always the favourite. Well, mum always liked you more than me, you know, and we do all that kind of rubbish. And that's a lot of what starts to come up in these businesses. And it's so crazy because we're all grown and we should know better. And now it's affecting not just the next generation, but also the businesses. So it was fascinating to see that and be part of that dynamic.
So you said you spend 3 weeks with these families and you kind of feel like a part of it. Is that very emotional for you? Is it taxing to be kind of like a therapist on top of helping them with their company?
Yeah, it's exhausting. I mean, when I finished filming, I actually went away, which I do to kind of just regroup a little bit and pay attention to my family and have a little bit of time. And I got so incredibly sick. And it was just that close down thing because, you know, I go home and I think about these people all the time. So it's a constant thing of, are they doing what we talked about? Are they following through? Is everything okay? And one of the big differences with Relative Success that you'll see, it is 3 weeks. It's not a week that I did before. And it's also experimental in a way of letting people take ownership and charge of themselves. So instead of me driving the train all the time and being in charge and then giving the keys back and going, okay, good for you, good luck with that, it's really over the 3 week period, checking in and out all the time and giving them homework and things that they need to take care of to see how much responsibility they're going to take for themselves and how, you know, they're going to really change over that time frame. So it was very emotional because you get to really know everyone because you're with them for so long and kind of take the journey with them. And yes, you go home and you think about them and what could I do differently? Why isn't this working? Why isn't so-and-so on board with this? And it stays with you.
Yeah, what did you kind of learn about yourself through this experience, if anything?
God, I'm tough. Yeah, part of it is, God, I'm tough, and I really do love what I do. And I think part of the reason it works is because I really love what I do, because I do get so vested in it. If it was just a TV show for me, or if it was just, you know, a project, it wouldn't work as well. But because I really think about these people and think about their business and think about their family and care, and I want to coach them through it. I mean, that's what I do. I'm a coach. I want to coach them through not just the personal stuff that is kind of a sticking point for them and make room to change and grow, but help their business as well.
Yeah. So which family this season really gave you a run for your money? Somebody whose story kind of sticks out to you as being like, wow, I can't believe I actually made it through 3 weeks with this family.
Honestly, all of them. But in their own way, you know, for different reasons. Like when I was just talking about Joe from D'Amore's Pizza that we'll see tomorrow night, to listen to that man's struggle and what happened, you know, in his life, and then that he was such a great stand-up guy to, on his own, you know, like bust his butt to take care of these kids and do everything he could do and really kind of put his life on hold. That's a great story. That's really inspirational, you know, and a great thing to see. And there are lots of those stories. Every one is really impactful and emotional for different reasons. You know, for Joe, you root for him because you're like, dude, you gave up your life, your wife passed away. It's time for you to get married and have this great hot wife and enjoy it. Forget what your children think, you know. So it's that kind of thing. And then you'll see another episode where the husband had built this amazing business and was a real artist, and he passed away suddenly and no one expected it. And all of a sudden it's two different families. It's his first wife and his first set of children, then his second wife and second set of children trying to come together without him being the person that navigated it all and kept it smooth. And we all look at it and go, I get that, right? My mother was married a few times, so I get what that feels like, and I understand what happened over there. So it's really interesting. All of them were really great and really hard for different reasons.
So how did you guys, you and Bravo, sit down and say, I'm ready to come back? And did you kind of bring this idea to them that you wanted to expand a bit out of hair salons and do more business, knowing that you've, you know, written books now and you're much more of a coach?
Bravo and I had been talking about what felt right, you know, and what felt right for me. I definitely needed a break. So it was what felt right for me, what felt right for them, and what we thought would work. But we all were on the same page that we wanted to stay in business. You know, it was in the business realm, and that's what I'm known for, that's what I love, and that's what everyone that watches seems to love as well. So it was trying to find what the fresh version was. And yes, an expansion on what I do. You know, I think what a lot of people realize and some realize, don't realize, is that I am a coach. You know, I do help people with their businesses. I'm a motivational speaker. I speak all the time at organizations that aren't just within the hair industry, just talk about business and motivating staff and being a better version of you and being a better leader. So it was a natural step to not just put myself in a box of being hair salon. So I know some of my hairdressers are a little upset with me. Don't hate on me. I love you all. I'm not giving up on hairdressing. It was just, I think when you look at businesses in general, we can all learn whatever the industry we're in.
I'm sure working in the hair industry and the, you know, hair salons taught you a lot about being a motivator and being a coach, correct? Because I'm sure some stuff goes on in a hair salon that goes on in a pizzeria.
Oh, for sure. Look, business is business. And I think when you do what hairdressers do, which is incredibly intimate, and the barriers get broken down really quickly with people, and you get inside people's lives really quickly, and you change the way they look, and part of that is how they feel about themselves. It's a very intimate, different relationship than a lot of people have in their jobs. And it does allow you to kind of break through things a little quicker and get to the heart of the matter, because that's what you do with clients a lot.
So let's go back to the beginning with Sheer Genius. I loved the show so much. It was like the Project Runway of the hair industry. What do you remember from that time? And could you see yourself then where you are now?
Not much, and hell no. I remember bits and pieces of it. The funny thing that I remember is it was rough. You know, like it was rough to leave home, and I'm not a girl that likes to rough it a lot. So living with 11 people that you don't know and sleeping on a bunk bed and things like that, that was rough. And no, I never went into that thinking this many years later, oh, I'd have my own show and I'd, you know, be part of the Bravo family. And no, I just went to have a bit of fun.
Yeah, what was it like, if you can think back? Didn't you guys have like challenges and you had to do certain, and I'm sure you didn't get along with everybody in the cast, and
I don't think you guys probably know more than me. I don't think I got along with many people in the cast. Yeah, there were challenges. There were, you know, like a short little challenge and then the big one that you got eliminated. I still remember my meltdown when I got eliminated. It was epic. Like, it was really epic. You got to see maybe 2 minutes of it. I got to live 45 minutes of it, of me on a tirade of just, I lost my mind. But it was fun. It was really fun. And, you know, I think when you put in that situation and it's competitive and you're passionate about what you do, and it's a pressure cooker. You're living with complete strangers in a condition that, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not nice. It's not your own home. So you don't have your creature comforts. You have nothing. Everything's taken away from you. So it's very raw and emotional anyway. And after a while, it just does your head in and, you know, you kind of lose your stuff a little bit.
Yeah, but all of that led to you being like the fan favorite. And then, of course, you landed Tabitha Takes Over and you got to do this show and you've gotten to write books. And what does that feel for you to know that, you know, you went through the hell of that show and now look what happened?
Look, it honestly wasn't that hell. It was challenging, but that's why you do it, right? That's why you put yourself out there to do it. And this is amazing. I still don't believe it, and it sounds a little trite sometimes. And I thank all my supporters on social media all the time and say thank you for supporting me, because whether I'm on TV or not, I have a lot of support and I have a lot of people out there that remember me and come up and want pictures and ask for advice and autographs and things. And it is incredibly humbling. Because, you know, there's a lot of stimulation out there in the world, and it's so great that everyone still supports me and is excited, and this wasn't the plan. I'm very happy that it happened, so I'm not saying that it was planned somewhere in the universe, but it wasn't kind of the goal that I went out looking for. But it's amazing, and at the end of it, I just love that I really can help businesses. And, you know, even if you're watching at home, you can watch it and go, you know what? I do that, maybe I should change. Or my family and I speak like that and it's not cool. We should maybe do this differently so the kids don't see it and the next generation doesn't do it. And I think that is the great thing about what I do. It kind of makes you think a little bit, but also be entertained.
Yeah. Is that one of the reasons you decided to sit down and write? I think you have a book coming out called Own It soon? February?
No, Own It has already been out.
been out?
That's been out for a while and now it's in paperback.
What made you want to sit down and write a book like that? Was it all this stuff kind of coming together and all the things that you've learned?
It was. The first book was kind of an introduction to who I am and just questions based on what people would ask me a lot. And then Own It was kind of how to work through what you're working through, whether in business or in your personal life, and how to overcome some of the crap that we all get on a daily basis. So now you'll have to wait for the third one and see what my journey's been through all of this. I'll put a nice little bow on a lot of things with some of the changes.
When will that one be out?
Hopefully very soon.
Yes. And before I toss it to the audience, I'm very curious what your experience is like being on TV now versus then. Have you seen a change in the television landscape? Because so much has gone on in the past 5 to 10 years.
I mean, it's crazy because it hasn't really been that long. It feels like it was a blink of an eye. It feels like it was yesterday. So it hasn't been that long. But TV's totally changed. I think partly because social media, internet, right? It's not just a TV anymore that you have to turn on. You can watch from your smartphone, your tablet, however you want to consume, you can consume. There's shows like this, which is amazing. So I think it's leveled the playing field a lot, which is really interesting, and I love that. And it's also made it much more diverse and much more interesting and much richer. And that's the fascinating thing about it.
Yeah, there's some shows what are some of the shows that you're watching now? It doesn't have to be reality, but there's just so much content. How do you pick what shows to watch?
It's hard, but I love that. And I think that's the great thing. And I also think that there was, and I'm sure there still is to some extent, but there was this thought that, and some people that were on that lovely little box for a couple of minutes thought that they were super special because they were on there. And now a lot of people can reach a lot of people and make a difference just from a phone and a computer, and that's pretty amazing and powerful. And I love that.
Yeah, especially to have that one moment on screen, and now you have Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and you can use it and kind of push your platform even
It's like
further.
a superpower. If you use it for good, it can be a superpower. If you use it for bad, it's just annoying. Yeah.
Well, I do want to open it up to the audience for some questions. So who's first?
Hi, so I was wondering, what is the best piece of business advice that you've ever received?
Oh, I love that question. I don't remember who told me this, but someone told me that you need to be like bamboo because you need to always bend without breaking. And I think in business, you never know what's going to happen. Something's going to change, and you can't always plan for the changes that are going to come because you can't even imagine them, but you have to always plan for the change, and you have to be flexible. You just have to. If you're too rigid and too uptight and too stuck in your ways, you just break and you don't know how to maneuver through kind of the river with all the stuff coming at you. So it's definitely flexibility.
Very true.
Hi. So I was wondering how important do you think it is to kind of get out of your comfort zone or be able to be open to experience failures to get to the point of success or where you want to be?
It's really important to get out of your comfort zone. I think the only way we can learn something new is to do something different. If we keep doing the same things over and over, we don't learn anything. We don't learn about ourselves, and we don't change a situation. And if you don't have any failures, it means that you haven't tried anything. Mm-hmm. So they're not really failures. They're just opportunities to try something. And sometimes they work out and sometimes they don't. Sometimes that's a good thing when they don't work out, because it teaches us about ourselves or about what we really want or what we need to do differently to be able to take a different path. So I think everyone gets so caught up on, I failed. You know, it's just terrible. I failed. The world keeps spinning. We're all breathing. We're okay. We can try again. And that's a good thing. But the only way to learn and the only way to stretch and the only way to make room in our lives and our careers and our whatever is to do something different and to try.
I'm feeling very inspired here, guys. We have time for one more.
I have a question about when did you realize that you were so fearless and started taking risks? Because if we look at your history, you started working at 14, then moved to London, now you moved to the States, and it's like time after time you get invested and you work so hard. But when did that initial beginning start for you as an entrepreneur?
Thank you. I mean, I'm just as scared as the next person, right? So I get scared. The only difference is well, not difference because a lot of us do, is I face it. That's all. I don't like being held hostage, especially by myself. So I get scared and I work through the fear until the next one comes up and just keep going through it, because you grow and you change, and that's the only way to do it. Whatever I've wanted to do, I just want to try and do it. And sometimes you fail and sometimes you get knocked down and you just have to get up and you just have to try again. And I think I started that really young, and part of that was my mother telling me whatever I wanted to do, I should do. And part of it was being picked on when I was a kid and really being bullied and realizing that I wasn't going to give those other people power over me, so I needed to just stand up and do it for myself. And I think that's what we all have to do in business as well, is not to be scared by taking any risks, because when you're scared, it paralyzes you. You just can't move because you're so paralyzed by fear, and nothing changes and nothing happens. And most of the time, it's worse in our heads than what it really is, because we build it up and it becomes this whole thing. And then when you face it, it's like, it was all right. It wasn't so bad. I got through that. It was fine. It was just a little wavy for a minute.
We'll see. We can all be like Tabitha one day. If we face our fears, we're not afraid to fail, and we'll succeed. Well, I'm so excited to watch. The show airs tomorrow, right? Premieres tomorrow.
Tomorrow at
Bravo.
10.
We can't wait, and we're so excited you're back on our TV screens. Thanks for being
Thanks,
here.
you guys. Thank you.